Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariya or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 4, Book 53, number 397. Narrated by Ibrahim at-Tamimi's father. Ali delivered a sermon saying, "We have no book to read except the Book of Allah and what is written in this paper, which contains verdicts regarding retaliation for wounds, the ages of the camels, given as zakat or as blood money, and the fact that Medina is a sanctuary in between Air Mountain to so-and-so mountain. So, whoever innovates in it an heresy or commits a sin or gives shelter in it, to such an innovator will incur the curse of Allah, the angels and all the people. And none of his compulsory or optional good deeds of worship will be accepted. And whoever, freed slave, takes as his master, i.e. befriends, other than his real masters will incur the same curse. And the asylum granted by any Muslim is to be secured by all the other Muslims, and whoever betrays a Muslim in this respect will incur the same curse." Volume 4, Book 53, number 398. Narrated by Sa'al bin Abi Hathma. Abdullah bin Sa'al and Mahayisa bin Mas'ud bin Zaid set out to Khaybar, the inhabitants of which had a peace treaty with the Muslims at that time. They parted, and later on Mahayisa came upon Abdullah bin Sa'al and found him murdered, agitating in his blood. He buried him and returned to Medina. Abdur-Rahman bin Sa'al, Mahayisa and Huwayisa, the sons of Mas'ud, came to the Prophet, and Abdur-Rahman intended to talk, but the Prophet said to him, "Let the eldest of you speak." As Abdur-Rahman was the youngest, Abdur-Rahman kept silent and the other two spoke. The Prophet said, "If you swear as to who has committed the murder, you will have the right to take your right from the murderer." They said, "How should we swear if we did not witness the murder or see the murderer?" The Prophet said, "Then the Jews can clear themselves from the charge by taking Alaska, an oath taken by men that it was not they who committed the murder." The Y said, "How should we believe in the oaths of infidels?" So, the Prophet himself paid the blood money of Abdullah. See Hadith number 36, Volume 9. Volume 4, Book 53, number 399. Narrated by Abdullah bin Abbas. That Abu Sufyan bin Harb informed him that Heraclius called him and the members of a caravan from Quraysh who had gone to Sham as traders, during the truce which Allah's apostle had concluded with Abu Sufyan and the Quraysh infidels. Volume 4, Book 53, number 400. Narrated by Aisha. Once the Prophet was bewitched so that he began to imagine that he had done a thing which in fact he had not done. Volume 4, Book 53, number 401. Narrated by Auf bin Mali. I went to the Prophet during the Ghazwa of Tabuk while he was sitting in a leather tent. He said, "Count 6 signs that indicate the approach of the hour: my death, the conquest of Jerusalem, a plague that will afflict you and kill you in great numbers, as the plague that afflicts sheep, the increase of wealth to such an extent that even if one is given 100 dinars, he will not be satisfied, then an affliction which no Arab house will escape, and then a truce between you and Bani al-Asfar, i.e. the Byzantines, who will betray you and attack you under 80 flags. Under each flag will be 12,000 soldiers." Volume 4, Book 53, number 402. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Abu Bakr, on the day of Nahr, i.e. slaughtering of animals for sacrifice, sent me in the company of others to make this announcement: after this year, no pagan will be allowed to perform the Hajj, and none will be allowed to perform the Tawaf of the Kaaba undressed. And the day of Al-Hajj al-Akbar is the day of Nahr, and it called Al-Akbar because the people call the Umrah al-Hajj al-Asgar, i.e. the minor Hajj. Abu Bakr threw back the pagans' covenant that year, and therefore, no pagan performed the Hajj in the year of Hajj al-Wada, of the Prophets. Volume 4, Book 53, number 403. Narrated by Abdullah bin Amr. Allah's Apostle said, "Whoever has the following 4 characteristics will be a pure hypocrite. If he speaks, he tells a lie. If he gives a promise, he breaks it. If he makes a covenant, he proves treacherous. And if he quarrels, he behaves in a very imprudent, evil, insulting manner, unjust. And whoever has one of these characteristics, has one characteristic of a hypocrite, unless he gives it us." Volume 4, Book 53, number 404. Narrated by Ali. We did not write anything from the Prophet except the Quran and what is written in this paper, wherein the Prophet said, "Medina is a sanctuary from the mountain of air to so and so. Therefore, whoever innovates in it an heresy or commits a sin, or gives shelter to such an innovator, will incur the curse of Allah, the angels and all the people. And none of his compulsory or optional good deeds of worship will be accepted, and the asylum granted by any Muslim is to be secured by all the Muslims, even if it is granted by one of the lowest social status among them. And whoever betrays a Muslim in this respect will incur the curse of Allah, the angels and all the people, and his compulsory and optional good deeds of worship will not be accepted. And any freed slave will take as masters, befriends, people other than his own real masters who freed him without taking the permission of the latter, will incur the curse of Allah, the angels and all the people, and his compulsory and optional good deeds of worship will not be accepted." Narrated said, Abu Hurairah once said to the people, "What will your state be when you can get no dinar or dirham, i.e. taxes from the dimmas?" On that someone asked him, "What makes you know that this state will take place, O Abu Hurairah?" He said, "By him in whose hands Abu Hurairah's life is, I know it through the statement of the true and truly inspired one, i.e. the Prophet." The people asked, "What does the statement say?" He replied, "Allah and his apostles asylum granted to dhimmis, i.e. non-Muslims living in a Muslim territory, will be outraged, and so Allah will make the hearts of these dhimmis so daring that they will refuse to pay the jizya they will be supposed to pay." Volume 4, Book 53, number 405. Narrated by Al-Amish. I asked Abu Wa'il, "Did you take part in the Battle of Siffin?" He said, "Yes, and I heard Sa'al bin Hunayf, when he was blamed for lack of zeal for fighting, saying, 'You'd better blame your wrong opinions. I wish you had seen me on the day of Abu Jandal. If I had the courage to disobey the Prophet's orders, I would have done so. We had kept out swords on our necks and shoulders, for a thing which frightened us. And we did so, we found it easier for us, except in the case of the above battle of ours.